You don't hate people. You just feel better when you're alone. Plans come up, and something in you quietly resists. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a subtle pullback. And sometimes you wonder, is this peace, or am I slowly disappearing from the world? Problem. Deep dive. You enjoy your own space. The silence. The control. The predictability. No pressure to perform. No need to react in real time. No invisible expectations hanging in the air. At home, you can finally be yourself, or at least a version of yourself that feels safe. But over time, something shifts. You start declining more invitations. You delay replying to messages. You tell yourself, I'll go next time. And next time rarely comes. It's not that you don't care about people. You just feel drained by them. Small talk feels heavy. Group settings feel overwhelming. Even meaningful conversations can feel like too much after a while. So you retreat. Not dramatically, quietly. And slowly, your world becomes smaller, but more comfortable. But then, there are moments. Late at night, scrolling through your phone, seeing others out, laughing, living. And a thought appears, am I missing out or protecting myself? That tension, that quiet conflict, is where this pattern lives. Here's what most people get wrong. You're not antisocial, you're not broken, and you're definitely not lazy. Your brain is doing something very specific. It's choosing emotional safety over unpredictability. What looks like avoidance is often adaptation. At some point, your mind learned that being out there costs energy. Maybe it was overstimulation. Maybe it was judgment. Maybe it was subtle social fatigue you couldn't explain. So your brain made a quiet decision. Stay where it feels manageable. Home became more than a place. It became a regulated environment, a space where your nervous system can finally relax. And once your brain associates something with safety, it will keep choosing it, even if it limits you. Psychological mechanism. To understand this, you need to see how your brain processes energy and threat. Your brain is constantly asking one question: is this safe, and is it worth the energy? Social interaction, even positive ones, require a lot of processing, reading facial expressions, interpreting tone, managing your own responses, monitoring how you're being perceived. This all activates your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for thinking, decision-making, and self-regulation. At the same time, your amygdala, your threat detector, is scanning for subtle social risks, rejection, awkwardness, misinterpretation. Even if nothing bad happens, your brain stays slightly alert. Now compare that to being at home. Familiar environment, predictable stimuli, full control over interaction. Your brain shifts into a lower energy state. Less monitoring, less processing, less emotional risk. Think of it like this. Your brain has two modes. Explore mode, engaging with the outside world. Protect mode, conserving energy and minimizing risk. If explore mode has ever felt draining or overwhelming, your brain starts favoring protect mode. And here's the important part. The more you stay in protect mode, the more unfamiliar and draining explore mode begins to feel. This is called a reinforcement loop. Comfort reinforces avoidance. Avoidance increases sensitivity. Sensitivity makes the outside world feel heavier, so you stay in. Not because you can't go out, but because your brain has learned it's easier not to. Practical framework. This isn't about forcing yourself to go out more. That usually backfires. Instead, you need to gently retrain how your brain associates energy and safety. Make it small and controlled. Why it works: your brain resists intensity, not necessarily interaction itself. Smaller exposures reduce amygdala activation and lower perceived threat. Example: instead of a long hangout, step outside for a 10-minute walk in a public place. No pressure to talk, just presence. 2. Pre-decide your exit point. What to do. Before any social situation, decide how long you'll stay. Why it works. The brain feels safer when it knows there's a clear end. This reduces anticipatory anxiety and cognitive load. Example: I'll go for 30 minutes, then leave. Now your brain doesn't feel trapped. It feels in control. 3. Shift from performance to observation. What to do. Stop focusing on how you're being perceived. Instead, observe others. Why it works. This redirects attention away from self-monitoring, which drains energy and reduces prefrontal overload. Example: notice how people talk, pause, laugh. You're not performing, you're watching. 4. Phenomone. Create, half social. Environments. What to do. Choose spaces where interaction is optional. Why it works. Your brain feels safer when engagement isn't required. This keeps you in a regulated state while still exposing you to the outside world. Example: a cafe, a library, a quiet park. You're around people but not responsible for them. 5. Track energy, not just behavior. What to do. After social interaction, reflect on when you felt drained, not just that you did. Why it works. This builds awareness of your specific triggers, helping your brain predict and manage energy better. Example: was it the noise, the length of conversation, the type of people? Now you're not avoiding everything, you're adjusting intelligently. At the core of all this is a simple mental model. Your brain is an energy manager, not a personality labeler. It's not saying you're an introvert or you're antisocial. It's saying, this costs energy, and I'm trying to protect you. Home feels good because it's predictable, because it requires less. But your world doesn't have to shrink to feel safe. You can expand it slowly, without overwhelming your system, not by fighting your nature, but by working with it. There's nothing wrong with loving your own space. There's something deeply honest about it. But the question isn't whether you should stay in or go out. It's this: are you choosing comfort, or is comfort choosing for you? Because there's a quiet difference. One is peace. The other is limitation, disguised as peace. And once you start noticing that difference, you don't have to force yourself into the world. You just begin to open the door a little more often.